Yo, what's up, everybody? It's the Prize Pick Show here on Orange Bloods Live. I'm Jeff Ketchum, joined by an ensemble of people. Usually it's me that's flaked out and found a way to get out of this thing. But today, Anwar's doing some SEC teleconference work. So Cody, Jason, Alex, we're all talking predictions. We're all talking Prize Picks this weekend, Texas OU style. Do us a solid. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel. Get notifications. Do all those things. And yeah, man, get your $50 instantly by going to Prize Picks and using that promo code OrangeBloods. I'm trying to find some action, guys. I got my deposit last week. I just haven't yet found that it hasn't been Texas OU yet because Prize Picks has been late to get those up this week, and it stands to reason, right? I mean, we've got injuries on both sides of the ball for both teams. The John Mateer storyline affects everything that they will probably do in terms of numbers. So you sit, you wait. It might be Friday. It might be Saturday. We'll tell you what to look for. But first, Mr. Sukamel, we got to jump into some predictions.
Oh.
I told you guys right before we hit the start button today, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like on Sunday, I thought I'm picking Oklahoma, and I'm in the middle of the week and I'm back to remembering that Oklahoma's pretty good. They're probably a lot like Florida. In fact, they may not have the offensive personnel that Florida does, but I do think they're better on defense. I don't know, Jason. If Texas gives the same effort and the same shitty players play shitty, like they will lose on Saturday. And maybe it's just as simple as that.
Yeah, if they give that effort, they're going to lose, probably regardless of what Mateer's status is. It's funny, man. Like, I wish Anwar was on the show because I wrote in my 3-2-1 column on Monday night. I said, you know what? F it. I'm picking Texas, right? Their backs are against the wall. They've got to put it together at some point. Maybe this is the week. I think Oklahoma's a good football team. I mean, I've had them ranked pretty highly in my conference rankings all year, but they're not the number 6 team in the country. They're not that good, right? So this is a winnable game. Hell, Texas is favored. So then we did the modcast on Tuesday, and Anwar at the end of it, he was like, well, I'm done giving this Texas team the benefit of the doubt. We did it all spring. We did it in fall camp. We did it after Ohio State. We did it when they struggle against some of these non-conference patsies. And I was like, you know what? He's right. Why am I giving this team the benefit of the doubt, just assuming because their backs are against the wall, they're going to come out swinging and actually do something? Texas, as I look today, is a 1.5 point favorite with a 42.5 total. So that's crazy low. So it's like, what, 21.5 to 20 or something, roughly around there, 22 to 21, whatever. That's about where I see it. But I think I'm going to go the other way, dude. Texas has to prove it to me. I'm always the guy that says, hey, slow down, prove it first.
Wait, so you're changing your mind?
I am. I'm changing it from my 3-2-1.
Wow. You gutless pig.
Well, I'm like, do I go with like just a hunch, or do I go with what my eyes have actually seen? And my eyes have actually seen Oklahoma playing better than Texas. This is a tough one, though, because the Mateer factor, if he plays, how effective will he be? Apparently, it's a broken thumb on his throwing hand. How the hell is he coming back from that in 2.5 weeks?
But don't we have to give Oklahoma, Cody, a lot of benefit of the doubt? This was a team that should have lost to Auburn at home, if we're just being like 100% honest about what happened in that game. At best, they were barely better than Auburn at home. Like, that just happened. That wasn't 7 weeks ago. That was a couple of weeks ago. We don't know the Mateer status. It feels like we're slamming on the brakes on the Texas benefit of the doubt, and we're giving an Oklahoma team that's best win is over a 2-loss Notre Dame team all the benefit of the doubt. Like, I'm supposed to forget that they were wildly out-talented in last year's game, and not a lot has completely changed on that front?
With 5 minutes left at home, after sacking the opposing quarterback 9 times, they were losing by a point to Auburn at home. And then Mateer scored, and then they got a safety, and they won that.
Hey, their best win is against a 1-loss Michigan team, by the way.
Yeah, but for all intents and purposes, Auburn is bigger in the trenches right now than Michigan is. And like they got that.
Catch at a 2-loss Notre Dame team. They beat Michigan not Notre Dame. I'm just clarifying. So
Yeah, I was thinking Texas A&M.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, but yeah.
So, like I said, I don't.
Both teams that struggle with Auburn. You know what I mean?
That too. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Auburn's been, recruiting bigger bodies, and they're like all these teams in the SEC that have bigger players in the trenches. I don't know. I'm not giving Oklahoma the benefit of the doubt. I said this on our show last night that I think that I didn't even say I think that the sports books have told us all year long that they think Oklahoma's a little bit fraudulent, and the Oklahoma fans came after me in the comments last night. They're like, "What? How can you say they're fraudulent? Texas is the definition of fraudulent, falling from 1 to out of the rankings." I said, "Yes, I get that, but guess who's still favored with John Mateer intended to be the starter for Oklahoma this week? Texas is. That's how the sports book's looking at this thing. On a neutral field, Texas is favored. Why? Right? It's not. Oklahoma's ranked 6th in the country. Like, there's reasons to it. There's reasons why sports books have chandeliers hanging in their casinos, etc. Right? Both really good defenses. I'm not giving Texas the benefit of the doubt. I don't really know where I stand right now. I'm not. I don't think either team scores 20 unless there's some fugazi going on, like a kick return, a blocked punt, a pick six, like that's. But that happens in these games, these rivalry games. That happens, and that's the big pendulum swing. So right now, I'm even, I'm sitting 9-6, 9-7. That's kind of where I'm sitting at right now. We're taking the sport back 60 years this week.
I was literally riding shotgun, arm in arm with you, Thelma and Louise style, until the score came out of your mouth. But I honestly, that could happen. It could happen. Like it's one of the things that was stunning about last week, Alex, was that I just can't believe that game played as high scoring as it did. And I know, look, let's give Cody props. He did. So maybe we need to listen a little bit if he says it's going low this week. I'm with Cody, man. It's not about, I don't know who I'm picking. I literally am on a prediction show right now, and I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth and if I will feel the same way. I've been kind of all over the place. The bottom line is I can't give either of these teams confidently benefit of the doubt. I don't believe in either. So to come out on a Wednesday and be emphatic about what I think one of these two teams will do in a situation where, I don't know, is kind of hard. It's why when we get to the prize pick stuff, we'll guesstimate what we think the numbers might look like. But man, I'm not getting crazy on my Texas OU plays this week. It is nothing I feel confident about.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be the weirdest prediction show ever because from the way it's sounding like and the way I feel, like I don't know what I'm gonna predict. I don't even know if I might be one thing where I'm just like, guys, I don't have the prediction is just pain on one side. Like I don't know. I think, and add to the fact that we don't even have any prize picks numbers yet to talk about. We'll talk about what we can sort of expect. But man, as far as the super low scoring game, I kind of think, dude, Texas this whole year had only been burned and had only had true coverage burns. I think it was twice all season leading up into this game. In this game, they give up four coverage burns for explosive plays. They had 3 terrible blown contains in this game that weren't all explosive plays, but were certainly all big plays that were just monster first downs to keep drives alive for Florida. I'm not sure that I see the I'm not sure that I see the defense tracking the same way versus Oklahoma that it did versus Florida. And this isn't to say that Florida's got a great offense, but they certainly have you look at Baugh and then you look at the running backs that OU has. And I mean, gosh, that's like the scales tip heavily towards Florida. That's an awesome running back. You look at, you look at Dallas Wilson and Brown and some of these young, talented wide receivers that Florida has just let loose, right? I look across to Oklahoma. I mean, no offense to any of them.
Wilson might be the best receiver that Texas sees all season.
It's just,
and nobody saw him until last week.
I know it's just crazy, right? And no offense to anybody on the Oklahoma side. I think that they certainly have explosive playmakers there for sure, but I'm not sure they're to the same level. not sure I see a 9-point game, Cody, like, or a 10-point kind of thing, because like you said, in these games, there's always something where there's a big turnover. There's always a big sudden change type of play. But I think, and I know I said it last week, but I think if one of these teams gets to 17 points, 20 points, I kind of think that's going to be good.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think Cody and I will clearly agree with you based on the fact that he's got 9-7, and it's hard for me, barring. And I would have thought that last week, right? I would have thought 27-20 without even telling me who wins the game. I would have thought there would have been some off-schedule scoring plays that would have factored into that, and it didn't, which is kind of crazy because, I kept saying in our team's chat, like, we haven't even had the Arch pick 6 yet, and it didn't happen. But man, it had all of the makings of a desperate team trying to come back. Offensive line can't block, and you're waiting for that.
yeah,
In the final 2 minutes of a game, the one that makes it just look ungodly. It didn't happen, but it could happen in this game. Does anybody have a winner? Let's just start with the prediction side of things, because I'm not picking the winning team to have 20 points in this game. It doesn't sound like Cody and Alex and I are either. What about you, Jason? Where's your score?
Yeah, I think, again, this is an impossible game to handicap. We don't know if Mateer's playing. We don't know how effective he's going to be. Is he going to be accurate? Is he going to have grip strength with that thumb injury if he even plays, right? So
is he going to be able to run?
Is he going to be able to run, Alex? I mean, obviously a hand injury.
I would say he only can run. That would be our best bet.
What's that, Cody?
I said that would be their best bet, is to just say you put a protective glove on the guy and he doesn't throw the football.
Yeah, but that's pretty maybe. But then you're so one-dimensional. But I mean, it's just a weird game. But if he's playing, I'm going to assume he's obviously healthy enough and well enough. He's going to be able to throw the ball. Okay, if he's well enough to throw the ball 75-80% of what he was before the injury, I think Mateer is a good quarterback. I think Oklahoma is going to win this game. Listen, man, I mean, my gut tells me, there's something in my gut that tells me Texas is going to battle back. They're going to punch off the ropes and get this win and salvage their season at least for another week. But then I go back to what I've seen. There's a reason I have had Texas ranked so lowly in my SEC rankings each week. And Oklahoma has been the better football team. I'm taking Oklahoma 23-21.
Interesting. I think the best thing for Texas in this game, now look, it may not work out this way, right? If Jason's score is correct, and I'm certainly not going to sit here and tell Jason that he's wrong. I don't know. He was more right last week than I was in terms of where Texas should be in the SEC power poll. So
but I did pick Texas to win by 10 over Florida. So
hey, I don't think any of us got that part right. So I just think, like, when you're Texas or you're Alabama, and let's look back to the Alabama-Georgia game for a second. I thought Alabama would win that game, and part of the reason was, and I predicted Alabama to beat, it's one of the only goddamn things I've gotten right this year. Actually, I got a couple things that weekend right. I had Virginia beating Florida State. But one team gets to be desperate, and the other team doesn't, and you can't manufacture desperation. In Texas, I think the Arch Manning thing this week will help as well. That Athletic article calling him, a bust and synonymous with losing, that will rally for a guy that, like, literally. I said this yesterday in a separate content piece. Think about Arch. I came out of Saturday thinking, well, that guy left it all on the field. It reminded me a little bit of the game that Chris Sims played against Washington in the playoffs many, many moons ago, when we found out that he, like, almost lost a lung or a kidney or whatever the hell it was that broke down on him. And you could see it in the game. He took a beating.
Yeah.
And more than anybody else did. And he never quit. He gave a ton of effort. And, like, I saw that guy fighting. And I think those guys will go back in the film room. We've all been there. Look, Alex doesn't know this because he played for Westlake. But I've done film review on the back end of, like, 48-0 losses and 42-0 losses. And there's nowhere to hide. Everybody in that locker room knows who jaked it, who started to give in a little bit, and everybody knows who fights through it. And Arch this weekend will be the guy that is being picked on nationally. That offensive line sucks. But if they got any kind of put the duct tape on it and fight like animals and be Wolverines or Badgers or something, it's got to be this week. Like, because if they get humiliated again, the season's over. If they're 3-3 after Saturday and they get physically annihilated like they did against Florida last week, the season's over. There's nothing left to play for. And that is the seesaw that I think Texas sits on right now. Because if you win this game, everything starts to feel a little bit different, right? A little bit. Like, it doesn't change that even the next week we'll still have the same questions about all of the same players. But I almost feel like this is a win-one for the Gipper type situation. And if they don't do it, you don't get to play that card again. And you're lucky to make a bowl game at that point if you're Texas, honestly. But something tells me it does kind of remind me of 2015, Alex, Charlie's win. We went into that game. If you'll remember, that Saturday was the Kirk Herbstreit, Austin is a cesspool game day moment.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I called Anwar up that morning, and I was like, that went over like a pile of bricks, and people were pissed. It was about to really explode, and Anwar and I were convinced OU's about to dump truck this Texas program that was on its way to a 5-7 season when it was all said and done. And they come up with a performance out of desperation that allows them to – I still think this is a more talented Texas team. It's got more raw talent than Oklahoma does. It's an OU team that can't run the football. They might be worse at running the football than Texas. Seriously, they're awful. Now, Texas is awful too. So it's like, who's the best under 4-foot basketball player on earth? Like, does it really matter? Their receiving game doesn't have the Dallas Wilson that can take a top off of a defense. They play in a phone booth. They can't run the football. They sound a lot like Texas. And that's why I don't know how to pick this game.
I'm in the same bucket. You would think if one of these, you think about these teams and you kind of said it right, because I keep on coming back to the idea of, okay, from what my eyes have told me, and I can just put myself back in my mindset from last Saturday afternoon, watching Tyreek Sapp and watching just watching the whole Florida defensive line and just seeing how badly the Texas offensive line reacted to those guys, right? And looking like they were literally guys that should not be on a college football field at times, And I think about Oklahoma, and I think about R. Mason Thomas and some of these guys, and I'm like, they're going to be a nightmare for these guys. But then I think to myself, okay, but Colin Simmons can be a nightmare too. If you were starting a college football franchise, right, or if you were, you could start a magical new, Ketchum State University or whatever, and you could would you? And you had your choice between Colin Simmons and R. Mason Thomas. Who would you choose?
Well, that's my point. You can do that I'm going to do an all 22 of this game. I haven't started to piece it together, but who knows what it'll look like on the offensive line. But
yeah,
that's a mess.
Shoulder shrugs. But I think Texas still wins that battle.
Yeah. So, I was ready to pick OU just because I was just so hyper focused on that one matchup. Maybe it's because I'm just wrapping up doing the offensive breakdown and watching every rep of the offensive line, and it's still kind of stuck in my craw a little bit. I don't know whether that gives me like biased perspective or whether that gives me more clear perspective that's right at the front of my mind.
I don't know if you know that when you have the hindsight.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, should it be like, should we like looking back, if we do end up picking Texas here, would we look back and say like, well, dude, you should have just like you were saying right there, how worried you were about that matchup. Why didn't you go with it? So it's hard. It's just hard. Like if there was one team that could run the football, I'd be like, well, this is a game where you have to run the football. And you have to get after and the defense has to get after the quarterback, and you got to get pressure whenever they try and take their shots off of the run game. And I don't think either of these teams can run. I have a super hard time with it. This is the hardest. This might be the hardest prediction that I've ever had to make, as far as Texas in any football game that we've had to turn in a prediction for Orange Bloods or put one in here on this show.
Meanwhile, I'm the only one who's made an actual.
Texas.
Hey, I'm the only one who's made a prediction. Come on.
17-16 Texas.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, I'll say 13. If it is, are we saying that Mateer's playing, or you just have to take that into your own personal consideration?
I think look, I will say this. This also kind of reminds me of 2009 with Sam Bradford, when the Oklahoma lost Bradford in the first game of the year against BYU. They bring him back right before Texas, before the collarbone was ready. And what happens in that game? Aaron Williams essentially ends his season. He ends up still being the number 1 pick in the draft, but he plays. He's maybe practiced kind of once. I think that's about the best. He literally, as we record this, had surgery 2 weeks ago today. So
it'll be 17 days Saturday.
I don't know what, they're saying, yeah, man, he's responded great. Okay. I don't think he's fully practiced yet. Yeah, I mean, there's some trepidation. Let me put it to you like this: if they put Prize Picks numbers on the board for Mateer, there's a good chance he's not playing in the third quarter, right? That he's ineffective, it doesn't work out, and they pull him and he doesn't make it to the third quarter, and all of his entries are refunded.
Well, yeah, you'll get a reboot there. That's the great thing about Prize Picks. If one of your players exits the game or gets hurt during the first half of the game, you don't, and you have the more picked on them, they just take that pick off the board. But if you have the less picked on them, you win. So it's it's really good insurance, as long as it has to happen in the first half.
Yeah,
but I do believe that Prize Picks
first play the third quarter, you're screwed. But
yeah, right. But still, it's a lot nicer than any. Like there's not going to be any other place where you can place these entries to where they're going to be doing that for you. So, I think what's interesting is Cody's theory that he keeps floating is that Mateer dresses and Hawkins is on a super short leash, and Mateer is the break glass in case of emergency type of quarterback. Do you guys lend any credence to that cockamamie theory?
I think anything's on the table. Listen, I've heard from random sources. I actually talked to an Oklahoma source on Tuesday, and they're saying, "Hey, Mateer's got the mindset. I'm playing. He's still. That doesn't mean the staff and the trainers or everything is going to clear him on Friday or whatever. I mean, just because he's telling people he's playing doesn't mean he's playing. So." I think there are still some unknowns, Alice. I think anything's on the table with this one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's cockamamie because I think it's potentially very realistic. I mean, we oftentimes hear it's a game day decision. That might be as close to a true game time decision as Brent Venables will ever make at the quarterback position, because they'll want to play him. So they'll go into Saturday, maybe not even having seen him truly rip it, and they'll say, hey, well, let's see what happened. Let's shoot him up with the needle and let's see what it feels like on Saturday. Can he rip it? Is 75% of him better than Michael Hawkins? If we think we might lose him, do we? I think that there's a lot of things. Can they? The same thing happened to them. What happened in 2009, where if you risk the guy because you have to win the game, have you risked your entire season? And they will know that better than us, but let me ask you this. If someone has, gotta be careful with how I say this, but I was thinking about it last night. If you knew someone had a broken thumb or a hand injury, how you try to tell guys when they can't get to the quarterback to jump up and just try to tip passes and stuff like that. Is there any way you can go out of your way to initiate contact if somebody's got a jacked up hand? If he's the quarterback, is there a way where you're aiming your pass rush at his throwing hand?
Well, you should be aiming your pass rush at his throwing hand anyway.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I mean, like
I'm just telling you, if it was me,
it's definitely the stuff where you're going to, if you're coming from the backside, you go you just punch it out, do the old Ant Hill on it.
I once did some dirty crap in like the bottom of piles.
Yeah.
Like if I know that a body part is hurt, I'm just curious how they handled that, because I think Jason's right. I think the kid wants to play, but hell, I want to play, but like I'd get physically injured in the process. Want to is different than being able to. So
you know what? That kind of brings up so I'll make my prediction. That just sealed it for me. We're getting the line right now from what we're hearing, and it was Josh Pate on X yesterday said that he's sponsored by FanDuel, right? FanDuel's a sponsor of his show, and he said he talked to his sources at FanDuel, and he said that the minus 1.5 right now is factoring in that Mateer is going to play. If they were factoring in Hawkins was going to play, they would have it Texas minus 5.5. Now, if that's true, there are two things that come to mind for me. One is that there's over 80% of the tickets here, 80% of the action on OU. People think it's like, how can you have OU favored here? And the sports books aren't budging on it. They're not moving. All right. It at minus 1.5. We're thinking here right now about Mateer's weird hand. And if it is Hawkins, at that minus 1.5, if you listen to the sports books that make all the money and they're the sharps and we're the squares, that's just how it works, right? If it didn't work like that, they would be out of business. They're sharp, right? We're getting 4 points of value if it's not Mateer, right? I'm going to go with what this. I'm going to say Texas wins 17-14.
All right. As far as prize pick predictions, we don't have entries right now, and honestly, as it relates to Texas, it's tough. I would say this.
What is Cody's pick? 9-6?
He said 9-7.
I'm gonna go 9-7.
Okay.
Texas has won 3 games in the history: 1951, 1962, and 1967 that were 9-6 or 9-7. We're taking the sport back 60 years. I'm going 9-7. It's going to be like that Texas A&M game last year, though. Field goal instead of touchdown, field goal. And then that pick six is coming just to piss everyone off. That pick six is going to come. It's going to make it 9-7. And then it's going to be a hairy fourth quarter. But I think it's going to be 9-7 final score.
So as far as prize picks, Cody's taking the more on Mason Shipley, more than 6.5 kicking points.
Yeah.
There you go. I was literally about to say, is there a player in this game on either side where you feel, without even knowing it, you feel comfortable taking the more? You don't know the numbers. You know what they'll probably put up, and you're like, I want that guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, it'll be
good kickers. So I'm Shipley, and I don't even know OU's kicker's name, but I know he's been pretty good this year. So I'd take both the mores on the kickers. That's it. Nothing else.
Easy for me. If they keep putting out this free Arch Manning 24.5 rushing yards, I'm going more again. It's been a lock. I'm not sure that I haven't looked back and seen if everyone's hit the more this year, but it feels like every time you bet more on Arch rushing yards, it hits. So
that's a great call, Alex. It'll be interesting to see what they do with that number. He is this team's leading rusher, and more. I think if there's ever a week where Sark leans into it a little bit, and if you told me that Arch had 15 carries on Saturday, some of those probably are sacks. But I wouldn't even be surprised if because we're including sacks, it wouldn't surprise me if at the end of the game, his official carry attempt number is 20. I mean, I think that, golly, in a lot of ways, it's the only ground game I feel like if you told me it was 3rd and 4, I feel comfortable with them just running some sort of quarterback power game than handing the ball off to anybody at this point. I mean, my expectations from converting a 3rd and 4 with a run play is about the same, no matter who's there. But Arch is the one guy. Like Sark even said it on Monday, and we'll go ahead and wrap up because I know we're going a little bit long, almost at the half-hour mark. But Arch is the only guy on the entire team, I guess, outside of Wingo, who has an explosive play of more than 18 yards in the run game. I thought it was fascinating that Anwar asked the question on Monday about it and made a point to say nobody on the team had a run over 18 yards. And when he said it, I thought, oh, Sark might nitpick him here and not answer the question fully because Anwar spit it out wrong. Instead, Sark corrected him, but he just said, yes, we don't have a running back that has a run of more than 18 yards. And I was like, oh, Sark knows that number. Like, he didn't get mad about it. He didn't call Anwar out and try to get away from the spirit of the question. There's a little bit of a shoulder shrug and we're 5 games in and that's not happening. And they got to figure out a way to rush for 100+ yards in this game somehow, some way. The team that runs the ball best probably wins the game. Probably. And neither of these two teams can run the ball. So, again, it leaves me in this question where, Jason, you could be right. Cody could be right. 17-16 could be right, and you could flip the teams, and I would go, yeah, no, I get it. This is the toughest Texas OU game for all the wrong reasons I can remember calling in a long time. I don't believe in either team. I don't even know that I believe in either quarterback, let alone it's so little known stat that most of the nation probably wouldn't believe. Arch Manning's passing efficiency for the season is higher than John Mateer's. I don't know how. We know that we know he wasn't playing great in the overwhelming majority of those games, but the John Mateer grits are so overcooked that I'm mystified by it. They're going to need that dude to rush for 70 yards in order for, I think, Oklahoma to beat Texas. I don't know. Guys, any final comments before we hang them up? It's a big old shoulder shrug episode of Prize Picks. We don't have the Prize Picks. I don't think any of us are confident in our scores. Maybe Cody's the most confident. And he's got the most weird historical anomaly of the entire pack of us. And I kind of feel like Cody's his first 1 to 9 wins the game might be the most accurate thing said on the show.
I feel pretty good about it. Also, just want to mention, Jaden Ott got back in the lineup last week against Kent State, averaged 4.5 yards per carry against a horrendous Kent State team, the worst defense in America. But it seemed like he might be getting healthy, which could be a key to this thing. I don't know. Looking from that side of the perspective, and then they also got Giovanni Gibson, their Arkansas Pine Bluff transfer wide receiver back last week as well. So
is that right?
Another piece. So I don't know. I feel confident in a low score like that. I'll be honest with you though. I could come up with a field goal in the next 48 hours and be like, yeah, 10-9 Oklahoma. I could do that too. I'm right there. So
it'll be funny if the score is 9-7 and in the final seconds a field goal is being attempted and then it gets blocked. And then you're a soothsayer as opposed to one play away, one damn kick. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Go to Prize Picks, log in. It is we love playing Prize Picks. I can't begin to tell you the void that it fills for me with a little bit of action. It's fun as a group. We talk about it every weekend. Don't get left out. Join us. Send us some messages. If you got any good Prize Picks, let us know. We always are interested in. We might not play them, but I promise you we'll keep an eye on them. And if they hit, maybe next week.
We'll listen to you next time, right?
Yeah. Exactly. So for us and Prize Picks and that $50 you instantly get when you play 5 using that promo code OrangeBloods, here's hoping next week's Prize Pick show we do with a smile and not with more shoulder shrugs. For me, Cody, Jason, and Alex, you guys have a great rest of the week. Enjoy the Red River Shootout. We'll talk to you soon. Later.